Hey guys, men's dating coach here, Harry Wilmington, founder of introvertdatingsuccess.com. And on today's show, we're going to be answering a question from a Reddit user that wants to know what's going on with the fact that he wasn't able to get it up at the time that he was getting aroused by his girlfriend. I want to talk about that and let you know about whether or not this is a thing you should worry about as it pertains to when you're dating women. If you're watching this on YouTube, hit that subscribe button and the bell icon to be notified of when I post up new daily videos. All right, so before I get into today's topic, this weekend, guys, this Saturday, December 19th, I'm going to be holding a very special 3-hour class. It's a master class on how to do online dating. And this is an offshoot of my Smart Digital Dating program, which, by the way, is still currently available at smartdigitaldating.com/enroll. And so basically what's going to be happening on Saturday is a 3-hour version of that, only live. Like the version you would get online is 3.5 hours, but we're going to do a live session. That way, if you guys have any questions, you can actually ask me during the course of you taking this class about any questions you have as it pertains to online dating. So we're going to go through everything, how to put up the right bio, the kind of pictures you need to use, the kind of angles you need to have in these pictures, what women are really looking for when they're doing these online dating apps, as well as talking about the kinds of first messages to send to women, how to increase her attraction, and of course, how to get her out on a date, including how to be dating with online dating during a pandemic. So we're going to be covering a lot of stuff. If that's something you're interested in, the class is only $97, and you can register for that by going to introvertdatingsuccess.com. It's actually going to be a Facebook Live, but you can register for it by getting the link at introvertdatingsuccess.com. And then on Saturday, the live takes place at 11 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. So if you're interested in that, if you want to get your online dating life on track for this upcoming year and you want to ask me questions, and I'll actually get to be able to really help you pinpoint out the kinds of pictures and stuff you should use and what you should put in your bio to really trigger women to want to talk to you, this is the class. So again, this Saturday, December 19th, 11 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. It's only $97. You can go to introvertdatingsuccess.com right now to click on the link to register for the Facebook Live. Okay, so let's go ahead and answer this guy's question, because this is a situation that inevitably as a guy is going to come up. Whether you want it to or not, there's going to be a point where this happens, and I want you to be prepared for it so you won't worry about it and you'll know how to react to it. So it goes like this. He says, so this guy's 18 and his girlfriend is 17. And he says that we've been together for around 4 months. She's my first girlfriend and I'm a virgin. She's had a lot of previous sexual experiences. Oh, I want to point this out too. For you guys out there that maybe like this guy, where like you're virgins or you haven't had a lot of sex and you come up against a woman that has had a lot of sex, do not think that if you aren't able to knock it out of the park upon that first sexual encounter with her, that she's going to leave you or dump you. Women typically tend to be surprisingly patient in terms of them recognizing that you guys being new to each other, it's going to take you some time to possibly get to know her body. And I've had it where I've dated women where like the first month and a half, we're having an overall great experience, but she's not having the big O yet. And then after that month and a half, when I finally learned her body, I'm able to hit those switches, and then it's like smooth sailing from there on out. So in the beginning, women just want to know that you're actually willing to get them to that point, meaning you take direction well, and they can read that and be like, okay, over time, he's going to get this, so I'll stick with him. Versus guys that don't listen to anything at all, those are the guys that think that they just know everything, they're the hot stuff, and they're not going to stay around long term for those type of guys, because if they're not going to listen, they're never going to get into that place of the big O, and it's not going to be a good experience for her in the long term, okay? So don't worry, guys, and also don't think you have to tell women. Like if you're a virgin and you start dating a woman that's not a virgin, don't think that you need to explicitly tell that to her, because once you have sex with her, you'll no longer be a virgin. And then she says, wait, were you a virgin? You can say, I was until before now, but like you don't have to like let a woman know that in order for her to want to have sex with you, okay? Just don't do that. Continuing on, he says, although I'm ready for sex and she knows that, we have exams starting the day after tomorrow for 4 weeks. And I told her I don't want anything to happen until those are over to make it really special. She's very understanding and is okay with that. And that's the other thing too, guys, is that women that truly care for you and have a high interest in you, they will go at your sexual pace if yours happens to be later than hers. Because a lot of times women's is typically going to be a little bit longer. But if yours is longer, if she has a high interest in you, she will go at your pace. So don't think you got to, they've been dating for 4 months and she's still having a good time with him despite them not having sex. Do not think that you have to rush into it if you're not ready, okay? That said, understand that for most women, 4 to 5 months of dating, that's usually longer than they're used to having to wait. So that doesn't mean that they won't stick around, but it does mean that you shouldn't feel like you need to hold back if you start feeling those feelings of you actually wanted to do it. Now, if it's just something in you whereby you're nervous or you're feeling like you're not sure if you want to go through with it, that's a different story altogether. But just know, usually really around like honestly, after like the third or fourth date, they're ready for it. But usually about like the 2 or 3 month mark, they're definitely like, okay, we've been together long enough. I trust you, guy. We can do some stuff. Continuing on, he says, today I went over to her house and we started making out really heavy. Nothing outright sexual happened, but I didn't get hard. I don't know why this happened. A couple of months ago, I used to get rock solid from just holding her hand or kissing her. Today, we were going at each other really hard. I was grabbing her butt and squeezing her chest to mine. I do think she's very, very attractive. Well, understand, guy, that if you've been with a woman long enough, like she becomes old stimuli. And so what that means is that in the beginning, when you first meet her, you don't know anything about her. You don't know about how she's going to smell, how she's going to look, how she's going to taste, how you're going to touch her. So everything that she's doing is new for the first time. And it's been shown that typically we get more aroused by newer stimuli than stimuli that's been around for a while. So yeah, in the first couple of months, I would expect you to get fully hard and aroused when you're kissing her or she's touching you or you're smelling her or whatever. Around month 4 or 5, that's not going to be happening every single time that you make out with her, because now it's stimuli that you're used to. You're used to kissing her, you're used to touching her. And so you got to understand there's a shock value that helps to increase arousal a lot faster and quicker and more often. Once that surprise is taken away, like now you can anticipate how she's going to touch you. You can anticipate how she's going to feel you. And so therefore, because those things aren't as much of a surprise, it's not going to get you as rock solid as it used to. Now, since you're a virgin, understand that in the sexual realm, once you start taking off pants and start being able to kiss, more places of her and, go down on her or vice versa, then that's going to now be even newer stimuli to you that she has not done to you yet. And therefore, you're most likely going to get more hard after that. Okay. Continuing on, he says, is everything okay with me? Is this just stress from my exams interfering with my sex drive? I've stopped watching porn, and when I jerk off, it's only over her, my imagination, and when I'm horny. So that could be a thing too. And I think that a lot of guys kind of feel ashamed talking about this. But if you're going through a stressful period of time and you're all in your head about stuff and whether it's like life stuff or whether you're in the moment starting to think like, man, like, am I kissing her the right way? Is she enjoying this? Is she mad at me for not going all the way with her? Like, is she really you really can get in your head to the point where you literally like cut off the arousal sensors in your head and you're not able to get as hard as you would have been if this was solely the thing you were concentrating on. So yeah, if you have like exams going on, if you're worrying about the relationship, if you're thinking, oh my God, at some point I got to have sex, what am I going to do? You really can get in your head to where you just don't get as hard. And so that's a thing where that's your anxiousness creeping up and not allowing you to fully be in the moment of where you are, thereby not allowing you to get aroused. And this is the thing that as guys we do, especially introverted guys. Introverts, let's face it, we're always in our head about stuff. We're constantly overanalyzing things and examining things. We spend a lot of our alone time just thinking about the world and the universe and stuff. And sometimes when we get around people or people that we're trying to date or whatever, we could still be in our heads thinking about a whole bunch of stuff on top of trying to analyze the current situation we're in, to whereby we're not able to fully enjoy the moment, okay? And so that's the thing where you have to learn to kind of like silence your brain and to really just focus in on the smells, the touching, the tasting, what's going on. And again, even with that happening, as stimuli becomes more used, you get more used to the stimuli that's in front of you, then you're not going to get that same rock hard every time, okay? But that's perfectly fine. That's acceptable. Continuing, he says, I'm sure she felt my stuff a few times and I only had either I had a semi or was kind of soft. This worried me. Is this just stress? Am I getting desensitized to her kiss? This is concerning me. This was really embarrassing. Any help or thoughts, advice would be really appreciated. So yeah, and understand too, guy, like there's going to be some initial embarrassment because you're thinking to yourself, women have this expectation that every time they touch us, we're going to get hard. And you know what? That is absolutely true. Most women have been made to believe that we're just a bunch of horn dogs that as soon as we get around a woman and we see some boobs and some butts and whatever, that we're just instantly bing, and we're like that all the time. And that's not really true. And that's something that you have to get her used to. And it's a weird thing because I've had it where like sometimes I'll be with a woman and like say the previous 3 sessions, it was like on a poppin', and then the next time I meet up with her, it's like maybe it's not as hard or I'm not able to get fully erect, so I just kind of go down on them instead. They might start asking like, well, is anything wrong? Are you okay? Do you still like me? And I have to assure them like, hey, everything's totally fine. It's just for whatever reason, I'm in my head about stuff today. I got a lot of stress going on. It's not you. I'm still having a good time. You are still beautiful. I still think the world of you. It's just today's not it. And I try to explain to them like, hey, there's going to be times where like we do some stuff and you don't have an orgasm. And I've taught myself that just because they're not having an orgasm doesn't mean that they're not having a good time. But early on, I thought if they're not screaming or saying my name or doing whatever, that it must mean they're having a bad time. And sometimes they're in their heads too. Sometimes they're feeling gross about their bodies for a certain reason, so they can't quite get to that point. But, all those rhythms, those touchings, those massages, those, going in and out of her, all those things are still making things feel like heightened arousal. It just might not get to the complete 100% full point of I'm exploding all over. And that's the same for you, guy. And truly, you're a virgin, so I can tell you now too, not every time that you go inside a woman will you like completely orgasm inside of her also. Like sometimes you'll do it and it'll just be like, okay, this is feeling good, but for whatever reason you can't quite get all the way finished, but you just gotta know, okay, this is her time to have fun. So I'm gonna just make sure she's getting hers with my stuff down there. If I can use my mouth, I'll do that or whatever, but not every time is gonna be a time where you're gonna get aroused or where she's gonna get aroused. That's just the nature of it, okay? If we could do it every single time, we'd all be like porn stars. And the reality is, porn stars even on set, sometimes what they don't show you behind the scenes is that they have to they don't always get erect right away, and they have to shut down production and wait for the guy to get hard or for a woman to open up when she's getting more aroused. It's just the nature of sex. Not every single time is going to be a knock out the park hardy for you, okay? So understand that is perfectly normal. And women, for the most part, as long as you're still willing to do what you need to do to get her off and get her feeling desired and appreciated, typically women will be okay with that. That's not to say all women, but that is to say that a good majority of them understand that because they go through it too, and you should have nothing at all to be embarrassed about. Thanks for watching this episode of the Introvert Dating Success Show. If you found the info in this episode to be helpful, please show your support by clicking on the tip jar tab, the link of which can be found at the website and in the description below. While there, you can also download a free copy of my ebook, Texting Like a Boss, where you'll learn the kinds of texts that really attract women. Be sure to like, share, subscribe, and leave a comment on this episode, and catch new episodes 7 days a week right here on YouTube or wherever podcasts can be found. In the meantime, be sure to check out some other episodes so that you too can learn to date as your introverted self while still getting your precious alone time. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you next time. Peace.